Howdy everybody, ArgonMatrix here. Welcome to episode 151 of The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I think we're going to try something a little different today, because we do still have stuff to do on here, but basically every character is now completed except for the Lost and the Keeper. And I don't just want to like mainline those two characters, because that's going to be like utter hell if I try to do that. And we also have some challenges and stuff to do, but the only other main thing we have left to do, as far as trying to get 1,000,000% is daily challenges. So this is, here I'll show you. You can see press tab for the daily challenge. That's how you access this. You can see this new run in 7 hours and whatever. And we play as Cain, as you can see in the top right there. Daily run, we can see the leaderboards if we want to. I'm not really super keen on like being the best of the best as far as daily runs go. I'm just gonna like basically treat it as a normal run, try to have a good time. There are various aspects to like maxing out the score on a daily run, because basically daily runs are like the leaderboards. There's two different leaderboards. There's one leaderboard for the highest score, and there's one leaderboard for the shortest time. And most people care about getting the highest score more than the shortest time, as far as I've seen anyways, from other Isaac YouTubers and streamers and stuff. Most people who do play the dailies go for the higher score. And there are a few ways to go about that you need to consider, and I'm not by any means an expert on any of it. I just sort of like, basically the only times I play the dailies, I played the dailies a little bit when they first came out, and I played that for a little while, and eventually realized it wasn't my sort of gameplay style, and got a little sick of it, so I just went back to normal runs and stuff. And then when Afterbirth Plus came out and there were daily related achievements, then I played some and just sort of grinded that out, and then was done with it for the time being. But basically, when it comes to getting a high score on dailies, there are a couple things to keep in mind, and it basically comes down to just playing the game as well as you can. Don't take damage, get through the floors as quickly as possible. Don't pick up too many items, I think, is a thing. Like, I think the more like powerful items you pick up, the lower your score will be, or those specific items will lower your score as you get further in the game or something. I don't know. There's a whole big set of algorithms that goes into the scoring system of the game. And you can see my score, by the way. It's something that's always been there at the top of the screen, but I've never really pointed it out in a standard run, just because there's no need to point it out in a standard run. There's no point to the score in your everyday gameplay loop. It really only factors into the dailies here. Yeah, so basically you want to try to win with the least amount possible, like the least amount of items possible. You want to win with taking the least amount of damage possible and in the least time possible. And there's also like various different aspects that can give you extra bonus points if you get to them. Like if you get to and defeat Boss Rush, then you get extra points for that. If you beat the Hush or Mega Satan, then you get extra points for that. If you defeat Delirium, I don't think you get extra points for that, strangely enough. They never added that into the daily sort of mechanic, but that's fine, I guess. And also one thing to note is that you can actually see on the side of the screen there, similar to how challenge runs work, there's a set floor goal for every single daily. So over there you can see it's the heal, which means that this run only goes to the mom fight and it's not any further. There are some that'll go to the mom fight, some that'll go to just It Lives, some will go to Isaac, Satan, some will go to the Lamb, Blue Baby, and some will go to Mega Satan. And I think those are all the possible permutations. And if the icon on the side is if it has like a white outline like it does right now, then that means it's the game is being played on normal mode. And if it has a red outline, that's being played on hard mode. And we play most of our runs on hard mode, unless we're doing greedier mode runs and stuff. So we should be used to hard mode, which makes it that much easier when we do get to play normal mode for once on a daily challenge. Range down is actually pretty bad because Cain already starts with very low range. But that's not the end of the world. Another important thing to note about daily challenges is that I'm pretty sure regardless of how many different items you have unlocked on your own file, everything in the game is unlocked when you play daily, just to make it even ground for all players, because like some players might they may walk into an item room and get Butterbean, whereas some players might not have Butterbean unlocked, so they would get Mom's Knife instead, or something weird like that. So you just never know what sort of permutations that can cause. So I think just to make it as fair as possible, they give everyone the same items, which is every item. So there might actually be some items and trinkets and stuff that we run into on this run that we've never seen before, some things that we haven't unlocked yet, which is pretty rare. It would be pretty rare for me, I think, just because I've seen and unlocked basically everything on this file, or most things on this file. Not quite everything yet, but you know, we're getting up there. We did just find an I'm Drowsy pill in the rotation. I think that was the blue and cyan, or cyan and white pill. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. If I can come across another one of those, I'd be a very happy camper. Because that can make some of the upcoming fights quite a bit easier. Yeah, so I'm not going to be one of those folks that talks like at great length about trying to maximize my score or anything. If I can get like a high score on the dailies, like if I see the potential opportunity for it, because I know various different strategies you can use to sort of get crazy high scores, then I might go for it. But in general, I think we're just going to try and have a good time and win as much as we can. All that good stuff. Basically, like I said, just playing a standard Isaac run except in a daily format here, so it's a run that you can play along at home with. Which, I mean, you could do that with any of my runs, because I give it the seeds every time in the description. There is no seed for the daily run, so you really just have to play it on the day of. Speaking of which, this is going to be the June 1st daily. It's probably not going to go up until around the 3rd. But, I'm probably going to do that just to make sure that people can't watch this video and then, like, go and play the daily for themselves and know what's coming up. Not that I think that's a huge concern when it comes to my videos that are being watched by, like, 50 people on average consistently. Don't think that's going to be a huge deal, but at the same time, better safe than sorry, right? And since I've never really expounded upon it, I've just sort of mentioned that there are daily related achievements. The achievements that we do have to actually go for, okay, well there's Mom's Knife. Sure, we'll give it a shot here. It's going to put us in a very dangerous position, but I think it could well be worth it. And then we should actually go and try to find our item room as well. It could be HP or something, which would be pretty valuable right now. What was I going to say, though? Oh, yeah, the daily related achievements are that you have to win 5 dailies in a row. Like, it doesn't matter what your score is or how you do in terms of time on the dailies. You just have to win the run 5 days in a row. And then you have to play a total of 30 dailies as well. Not consecutive dailies. You can split those up as you see fit or as you need to, depending on your time schedule and things, but as long as you play 30 dailies over the course of your save file's life, then you get that achievement. As far as I know anyway, I think it used to be, like when it first came out, when that achievement first came out, that it was 30 consecutive days, but people were a little up in arms about that, and I think understandably so. So they changed that one post-haste. Alright, we got the infestation here, so I don't mind that so much. Don't need another range down pill. Now we're actually in a bit of an interesting position because this Mom's Knife coup may not be something that every single person got, because you may, I didn't really mention it, but on our first floor, well actually on our second floor, when our first floor that we could have gotten a deal with the devil, we actually missed out on it because we got hit by Fistula at the very end. And I don't know if many people would have gotten hit on that floor. Granted, like, we haven't come across any spirit hearts as far as I've been able to tell, so the odds of people missing out on that deal with the devil are a little bit higher, I would say. But I think most people playing the dailies at this point are fairly good and would have been able to get through that floor without getting hit, and they probably would have gotten the deal with the devil on that floor, which means they may or may not have gotten the deal with the devil on the 3rd floor, which contained Mom's Knife, so that is something definitely to keep in mind. Ooh, luck down. Not a fan of that. We may be operating under a very, very different sort of run than most people are at this point in the daily, so let's keep that noted, because obviously, like, this run could be total shit without Mom's Knife. Who knows, man? We were doing okay. We got Magic Mush, so I don't think it would be total shit if we were without Mom's Knife here, but and also Mom's Knife does put us in a pretty precarious circumstance just in terms of the HP that we have, because we haven't had really any HP upgrades outside of Magic Mush, which enabled us to pick up Mom's Knife in the first place. Only barely, though. So, as long as we avoid these champions well enough, we should be decently okay here. Really, though, if we're playing on normal mode, we're not coming across very many Spirit Hearts. Like, I haven't had a single opportunity to pick up a Spirit Heart so far. This shot may be my first opportunity, and only if one is for sale. In normal mode, you normally expect a higher rate of consumables, but I guess not all consumables are created equal. Pardon me if there's any sort of background noise, by the way. It just like started raining like fucking crazy outside. So now cars are not only driving by and making lots of sound on their own, but they're driving through the puddles, and it's just like creating this sudden torrential like, not torrential downpour, but torrential sound effect in my ears. I mean, I guess it's not a sound effect, it's just a sound. That's when you know that you have been brought up in the digital age, when you call actual sounds in real life sound effects. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they are just sound effects, aren't they? I don't know, I'm gonna digress on that one. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know the whole process behind creating sound effects, so I can't make any sort of arguments there. Regardless, we are doing absolutely amazingly right now. And let's see if we can get out of this deal with the devil as well. This is one that people may not have gotten either, but it's hard to say because we are in a bit of a... We're sort of offset from the standard deal with the devil rhythm you might be on at this point in the run. So who really knows? Got Bob's Curse, which is some extra bombs. I'm fine with that. Let's go ahead and get a move on. Trying to go a little bit fast here so I can make it to boss rush, because I don't have the greatest amount of HP, so if I can remedy that situation before I get to boss rush, that would be swell. Otherwise, I'm just going to try and get there and do my damnedest. I'm drowsy. I'm actually probably going to save that for boss rush if we can make it in time. Don't really care about the Empress that much because I'm already doing plenty of damage with the Empress, or without the Empress, with just Mom's Knife. And by the way, self-inflicted damage, as far as like curse rooms and blood banks and stuff go, do contribute towards your damage penalty in the daily scores. So try to keep those sort of damage penalties to a minimum as much as you can. Sometimes it will be to your benefit to play those things, like to play Demon Beggars and Blood Banks and stuff like that, and try and get some advantage out of that. But for the most part, I try to avoid them. But when desperate times call for it, you know what you gotta do sometimes. There we go. Don't want to forget to pick up the I'm Drowsy pill before I leave this spot. That would be pretty bad. I also think these challenge rooms do give a little bit of an extra points injection. I think we just actually saw it right there. We went from like 7,900 to 8,100 or something. And self-sacrifice rooms also cost you points, so watch out for that. And also the damage you take, like, it's not a specific damage penalty you get for taking damage at any point in the run. I'm pretty sure the deeper you are into the game, the more of a penalty you'll get for taking damage. So the damage I take on the basement 1 is not that bad, whereas the damage I take on like the chest or even the womb or something, or even the depths here, can be a lot more deleterious to your long-term success in terms of the leaderboard. So keep that in mind. And if you are interested, by the way, in daily scores and keeping up with the leaderboards and stuff, and you want to sort of get into this whole thing, there are plenty of resources out there, I'm sure, to keep posted on. I don't have them offhand here. I know some of them. One of them that I do know is a little site called greedbutt.com, which is as silly as it sounds. And basically, it's keeps a better leaderboard, I guess, than the actual game does, because it sort of weeds out the people who have somewhat like suspicious scores, I guess. I don't know. It's like it looks for ways people have cheated or something, or used any sort of like mod engines to get higher scores in the dailies, which is obviously very much not allowed. Now, one thing I have not mentioned up to this point is that on a run like this that only goes to Mom, or even something that goes to like It Lives, or even like the Cathedral or something, you always want to be looking out for methods by which you can progress further. You know, like self-sacrifice rooms can take you down to Funky Town, obviously, but they can also take you down to the Dark Room, where you get more points for completing that because you get a lamb bonus if you beat the lamb. You can't fight Mega Satan unless the run is predestined to fight Mega Satan, as far as I know. Also, items to look out for are things like We Need to Go Deeper, the shovel, or the Awaz rune, or just anything like that that allows you to proceed to the next floor. Because those will allow you to proceed to the next floor, obviously, and then you don't have to, and then you'll be able to get more points that way. I haven't seen anything of that ilk so far. Normally a good place to look for those is in deals with the devil, because you do tend to get either runes or a shot at the We Need to Go Deeper item. So always look out for those deals with the devil for sure. Otherwise, self-sacrifice rooms can definitely be your friend. I know I said before that that taking damage on them can be pretty deleterious. But if you do have a decent amount of HP, I think it is worth it usually to invest in a self-sacrifice room if the run doesn't already go down to like the dark room on its own, because then obviously that's a little bit pointless. I should probably check this out actually, just in case. Could have been like a rune in there. Could have been an AWAS rune. Could have been a contender. I'm actually going to start blowing up some of these skulls just on the off chance that it is one of those runes. By one of those runes, I mean literally the only rune that could possibly send us past the mom fight. We'll see, though. Even if this run does only go to the mom fight and we end up having like a 20-minute video or something here, I'm not going to sweat it too much, honestly. It's been a fun time. I think it's been a pretty good introductory session to a daily. I'm glad that this daily actually only went to mom, just so you guys could get sort of a trial run of how these videos would tend to go. Really not that much different from the way I conduct my normal Isaac videos, I don't think. And I don't know, let me know if you guys want to see just like the 5 wins in a row thing, if you want me to, or if you want me to show like all the 30 dailies that I have to play, or if you like dailies to become sort of a consistent part of the LP, or what, maybe you just don't want to ever see dailies again, maybe they're not your cup of tea, but it is sort of like interesting, even if we don't go for like the leaderboard positions or anything. I think it is sort of interesting to be given a goal like this and strive to shoot for it, and try to like bend and break the goal restrictions as much as we can, you know? There is something to be said about that, as opposed to like just being thrown into a normal run and being like, have at her, here you go, best of luck to you, take whichever path you can to success, or whichever path you would like. Admittedly, I would like a little bit more variety in terms of like the daily goals, like if you could have like a run that had to go to Delirium or something, or one that just stopped at Hush, or stopped at Boss Rush specifically, like you could beat Mom and then you had to go to Boss Rush in order to actually complete the challenge. That would be pretty interesting. Now the reason I'm actually going back here and tracking back across the floor is to try and maybe find a teleport card of some kind, because there is a self-sacrifice room on this floor, which means that if I can get to and defeat Boss Rush, which I should be able to by all intents and purposes, because we've got more than enough time. Yeah, there's no cards in here, so I can't really do anything about that. But if I could do that, then I could possibly warp out of Boss Rush once I'm done and use that self-sacrifice room if my HP permits. It's not looking like I'm going to be able to make that work, unfortunately. So I could take one of two options here. I could either just go fight Boss Rush and let that be the end of it, or I could take the self-sacrifice room, get down to the dark room, and let that be the end of it. And I lean in a little bit more towards Boss Rush because I'm not even convinced that I'm going to have enough HP to make the self-sacrifice room work. I mean, obviously right now I don't, because I think you need to get hit like 10 or 12 times in order to even get to the dark room. And each hit takes a full heart. But you got to keep in mind that sometimes you do get HP back out of the self-sacrifice room as well. There's like that one reward that can pay out with like 8 spirit hearts or something ridiculous like that, so keep things like that in mind. But in this case, I think we're just going to go ahead and fight Mom here, not worry about it too much. She's done. We need to go deeper here if we're lucky. We're going to go ahead and take the Polaroid, I guess. Probably not advisable to take the Polaroid there, actually, just because, like I said, the more items you have, the more your score can become jeopardized, so maybe not the best thing, but... Now, would I rather have... Oh, shit, we got the Fool! Oh, God. But that means I can't take I'm Drowsy into the boss fight. I think I'm going to go ahead and take I'm Drowsy in. Also take the Head of Krampus in. Maybe that Deal with the Devil will still be there once we defeat Boss Rush and we can go back in for the Fool card there. That would be pretty cool, but I'm not holding too high of hopes for that. But if we can make that happen and go for the self-sacrifice room, that would actually be like the most clutch thing ever. And granted, it would happen to everyone who fought Krampus there anyway. We might have been in a bit of a unique position in that regard, because, like I said, we're sort of offset on our standard Deal with the Devil rhythm. But I do definitely think that even if we can't get back into the Deal with the Devil and get the Fool card, I think taking the I'm Drowsy pill in here was definitely very much to our best interests. Because, like, we're powerful with Mom's Knife, but we're not, like, crazy, super powerful. So I feel like without the Amdrazi Pill in effect here, we would be taking a little bit more damage than I would like to admit. And then the Fool card would not have been very useful to us anyway, even if we had it, because we wouldn't have been able to use the self-sacrifice room in all likelihood. And we got the cage there, and also pin. Not too shabby. Tearing through him like a hot knife through butter. Almost literally. More like a hot knife just through butt, though. Ooh, that conjures up some pretty nasty imagery, a hot knife going through a butt. I mean, I'm sure that's some people's thing. My thing's dinosaurs, though. Here's a T-Rex. Neat. Never mind. Oh, it was part of that whole big '90s Canadian PSA like campaign back in the day. Those things are ingrained in my fucking brain. There's like that House Hippo one. There's the What's Your Thing one. There's the fucking one where all the kids are running after the ice cream truck and it's about exercise because they all don't have enough energy to make it to the ice cream truck, and it's like, you should exercise more, you little bitch. I'm pretty sure that little bitch part isn't actually in the PSA, but you know, it could be. And not the greatest use of the head of Krampus there, but I'm totally fine. We should actually be getting very near the end of boss rush here, I would think we are, and that is the black hole. Don't really care for it. Deal with the Devil is not still open, so that's going to be the end of our run here. Let's see if we can get a little bit of something out of this. Worked out. Take the trophy. Probably not going to be that high on the leaderboards here. 1,080 seconds. 782 on time, though, so we actually did fairly decently on time. I imagine that's because most people did end up going down to deeper floors, and so their time would obviously be longer. But I'm happy enough with that. Yeah, you can see like a score like that, 89 million or whatever that is, 890,000. No, that's just 8 million. Okay. Just 8 million, you know, almost 9 million. It's whatever. Scores like that get weeded out on greedbutt.com usually. But like the 60,000, 58,000, those are legit scores that people probably got through some seam that only they found or very few people found or something. Because we only had like, what, 20,000 points by the end of this? 19.8? Yeah, 19,808, which is respectable, I think, but clearly not the top of the line scores. I got no friends who play this way. At any rate, so that's how dailies go. Oh, I guess I could show as well this different leaderboard. You press Q to access the time-based leaderboard here. 841. You can also see how deep they got. So we got to level 6, and that's where our run ended. Whereas like the top of leaderboards here, they got to level 6 in 34 seconds. More power to them, as far as I'm concerned. That one's probably a little bit cheaty. But things like I think probably like the 6-minute ones are not so cheaty. Maybe even that 352, I don't know. Who really knows, man? They're all level 6, though, clearly. So, at any rate, I think that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy that, and if you want to see more dailies, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. And leave a like if you did enjoy this. Tomorrow, maybe we'll do more. Maybe we'll do another daily. I'll try and get the 5 in a row thing knocked out if I can. And, yeah, we'll go from there. For now, I'm going to get out of here, so have yourselves a good day. This is ArgonMatrix signing out. Thank you and good night.